How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. The URC semi-finals between the Bulls and the Sharks is only a couple days away. This game, everything is going to be riding on it. Both the Bulls and Sharks want to make it to that final, and they are going to meet either Glasgow or Leinster, and this is going to be absolutely spectacular. But the one thing about this, South Africa are going to be represented in the URC finals, which as a fan, as a Springbok, it's a win-win. So I am a Sharks fan at heart. I do love watching the Bulls fight and play, but this rivalry is just about to hit, a whole nother level. Both teams are going to be going, for the jugular. They want everything. Both teams are so physical. They are going. It's literally going to be like just two bulls clashing into each other and hoping for the best outcome, right? In terms of the Bulls, you have Johan Grobela, you have Buta Chamberlain, um, you know, like a lot of the players that are there are just like what you have, you know, Mr. Thighs himself, Wilco Low. It's like how how do you stop the physical specimens and the elite level backs that the Bulls have? They play so well, and we saw it in their last game. They really, really struggled in the first half. But look at what happened come the second half. Look at what happened. They went from night to day. Unfortunately, in terms of the Sharks for the Bulls, they are going to be going up against 90% Springboks. But I don't know, Springboks playing for the Sharks are like down here. Springboks playing for the Springboks under Rassi, they play like up here. They're on a completely different level. But still, they have so much talent there that they're going to be so hard to contain. They move that ball out so quickly, right? And then you have those physical monsters that are just want to, they just want to drive into you and just absolutely, rip your soul from your body. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this is gonna turn out because we have two physical specimens of teams that are just gonna be clashing here. So I think it's more just gonna be of who's gonna have enough players remaining on this on the field to be able to continue the game. I mean, we look at the Sharks; they got Springboks left, right, center. They got Ebenezabet come playing his best rugby once again, and then on top of everything, you have Ethan Hooker, who's really making a name for himself. Lukanya Am, again, another brilliant player. They do have Jaden Hendrickse. Honestly, not the biggest fan of the guy. I do appreciate him, but I know I got a lot of. I made a video before. I got a lot of smack for it. I'm not happy with the way things are played. Obviously, there was a lot between him, Crowley, blah blah blah. Um, Honestly, just cut that out of the game. Just plain and simple. That's my opinion. But obviously, he is going to play, and I don't know. Hopefully, he has a much better game than what he did up against Munster because he's going to need it up against the Sharks and no, sorry, up against the Bulls because the Bulls are not going to give him any time, any time, and I can't see this game. I really cannot see this game going as the last one did. So um, the Sharks had better pull up their socks. They had better show why they are Springboks, and they had better be very quick at the breakdown. Because you give someone like Cameron Hanekom, you give a player like Evan Ruiz time, you give them that little inch. If you are on the ball immediately, they are going to be there. Now, at points, Hanekom does kind of rule the Bulls, and the Bulls do kind of see when he's off. He's like, oh, what are we gonna do here? We had better pull our socks up because Hanekom, I just feel like he's that player that he just does everything. If things aren't being done, he'll just pick up the ball and he'll go and get it done. But honestly, Um, Hanekom is one of those elite level players, and he's going to be such a good player for the Springboks. So I don't know how this is going to play out. I really don't, because we are now getting to the stage where everything is such small margins and fine margins that simple mistakes can make or break a game. The Bulls are very heavy, forward, dominant, aggressive, but that also opens them up to a lot of handling errors. And a lot of times these handling errors have really cost them in certain games. And then with the Sharks, they are so dynamic. They got such quick ball, and they've got such strong defensive organization. But again, it's that discipline, it's that unnecessary mistakes leading into penalties, right? And at points they seem to be giving points to the team, to the opposition. So they're gonna have to keep their heads straight. They're gonna need to have their leaders keeping them in check, and then how the game's gonna run in terms of scrums and lineouts is gonna be key. Honestly, I do feel that the Sharks are going in with potentially a slightly better chance at winning the scrums and the lineouts, considering the players that they do have. But the Bulls have a heavy and strong pack. So it's gonna be fun to watch. But honestly, look, this semifinal, it's just bound to be one of those classics. I'm really hoping it's not going to be a boring game. I'm really hoping that both of these teams are not going to go in afraid of each other, trying to defend. I want to see balls to the wall, attacking play, heavy runs. I want to see Walker low if he does end up playing. I want to see him try to run through 9 players, and just not stop. I want to see Yebenetsabet, rip the ball from people in lineouts, get that ball running, and then just making some of the biggest tackles in world rugby. You know, I want to see an exciting game, right? And honestly, I think that's exactly what we're gonna get. So I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are, right? Who do you think's gonna win? Because personally, for me, and this is me as a Sharks fan, I think even though the Sharks are probably going to be a little bit more dominant in terms of the breakdown. No, sorry, in terms of the scrums and the lineouts. I feel the Bulls are going to be far too quick at the breakdown. They're going to be utilizing their rucks much better. They are going to be utilizing players like Cameron Hanekom, Evan Ruiz, and so on to really put a lot of pressure on the Sharks, make them make a lot of unnecessary mistakes, handling errors, and then they are going to end up making the most out of every single point. I can definitely see the Bulls aiming for points over tries. Whenever they get a chance, they are going to hit, they're going to hit for between the sticks, right? Because if they are able to outplay and outmaneuver the Sharks, there's a very good chance that they're going to come out on top. So if they can cause them to make a lot of handling errors instead of having to break down that strong defensive line, right, and then just using that kicking ability to keep the points ticking, because you got to think 4 penalties, that's what, 12 points right there. So it should be relatively simple. But let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye.